What's up, pals? This is Staicha from Allfather-Metal coming to you today to talk about Wednesday 13's newest album, Mid-Death Crisis. I am so excited to review this album with you, and a big part of that is that I am a massive Wednesday 13 fan. So I always get excited about the albums that I get to review, but I don't know that I have ever listened to an early release album so many times. I've had this album for 3 days, and I can say with confidence I have listened to it more than 50 times front to back. Now, a big part of that is that I have been a fan of Wednesday 13's work since I looked like this. So in the mid to late 90s when he was doing Frankenstein Drag Queens from Planet 13, I thought that was just the best band I had ever heard. And of course, in 2002, like every other edgy, gothy metal kid who loved Slipknot, I ate up that Murderdolls content. And then when Wednesday 13 branched out on his own to do Transylvania 90210 20 years ago, I got that album the first week that it came out, and I have been following his career ever since. So now we are at Mid-Death Crisis, and I am lucky enough to review this. So let's get into it. Can't wait to talk about it. So as always, let's start with the lineup, because there are some big names on this lineup. We've got Jack Tankersley and Ashes on guitar, Troy Debler on bass, Mike Dupke on drums, and of course, Wednesday 13 on guitar and vocals. So we open up track 1 with There's No Such Thing as Monsters, which is this electric, eerie, spooky vibe-setting track, just with a lot of cool effects, kind of like you're walking through a haunted house, while Wednesday 13 whisper growls at you, there's no such thing as monsters. And I think it does a really good job setting the tone for a fun, spooky album. It's a great, fun little opener. Moving into track 2, Decease and Desist. Now, I usually like to give a top 3 favorite songs for every album that I review. I could not do that with this album. I could give you a top 4, and even that was super difficult. So this is in my top 4. We open up with an immediate rager. Super fast, super heavy, and a real industrial sound to it. So you've got your pulverizing drums, you've got that low chugging guitar riff, and then your lead guitar having that kind of high spooky note to it. Classic Wednesday 13 lyrics and content. This is the kind of song that you want to have on any playlist that's got things like Rob Zombie and Ministry. It's an immediate face melter. What a great way to start the album. So by this point, this is already one of my favorite Wednesday 13 albums. Moving into track 3, we're at When the Devil Commands, which you've probably already heard, because this is one of the 2 tracks that Wednesday 13 has already released to us. So I won't get into it too much. Obviously, this one is a lot heavier than some of his previous work. Wednesday 13 likes to play with genres a lot, which I will get into at the end, but this is a great classic heavy banger. So one thing I will say is I was fortunate enough to get to see Wednesday 13 live in Toronto this month, and I got to see this song, and he opens up by making us yell hell, making us yell 666, and then saying, okay, great, you know the words, so everybody sing along. And man, did we ever. This song is a rager live. The audience eats it up, and it's not surprising to see why. It's such a fun song. And, of course, as someone who is a huge fan of Frankenstein Drag Queens from Planet 13, I really like the nod to Viva Las Violence, The Devil Made Me Do It and I'll Do It Again. Obviously, this is not the same song, but just taking that line, because it's a solid line. It's really fun, and I loved getting to hear it again in this new Wednesday 13 sound. Superfans like myself, I think, always get a little bit too excited when we hear nods to the early work, like the first time you heard Slit My Wrist and you were like, oh, galactic chicken shit. But it's really nice to see a new appreciation get breathed into it in this new work. And also, overall, The Devil Made Me Do It is just a great, heavy song with a fantastic hook. And I can totally see why they chose this as one of the tracks to release early to get fans super hyped for the album. Okay. Moving into track 4, Rotting Away. I don't know how I'm going to adequately get across how much I love this song. This obviously is one of my top 4. It might be close to the top. I love this song so much. First of all, Wednesday 13, so good at songs about hating someone a lot. If you have any angry energy you want to get out, Wednesday 13, he's your guy. That's where you go. It's so cathartic to just purge those emotions through songs like this. But more than anything, it's this scream singing. I don't really want to call it crooning, although some people might. But there's something about Wednesday 13's vocal delivery in songs like this that I've always absolutely loved. I've always said Wednesday 13 is one of my favorite vocalists of all time. I'll stand by that until I'm dead. But this song really, really highlights it. It's fun, it's fast, it's catchy, but it's powerful and it's got that emotion behind it. I mean, hatred is an emotion. But when I first heard it, I had to listen to it on repeat until I knew it off by heart because I had to sing along. It's just one of those songs you just want to be involved with the moment that you hear it. Moving into track 5, No Apologies. I understand that at this point, it probably sounds like every single song is my favorite, but this is another favorite. And like I said, I have a top 4. It just so happens that tracks 4 and 5 are very heavily weighted for me. So this middle part of the album, I keep listening to on repeat. And I'm sure some of you have heard or seen, but Take Me Down is a guest vocalist on this track. And if you're wondering, yes, the 80s sleaze metal totally comes through. So if you're not familiar with Take Me Down is from Faster Pussycat, and his vocals pair so well with Wednesday 13's. It's a harmony like you are not ready for. And it's so catchy, it's fast, it's fun. And the guitar work, top tier. And maybe that's because you have that, 80s metal influence, but Tankersley and Ashes really kick it up a notch, especially the last third of this song. It's so much shredding, it's so fun. I cannot wait for the entire world to hear this song. Okay, track 6, Decapitation. A great reminder that Wednesday 13, they don't take themselves too seriously and they like to have fun. So it opens up with this fun, kind of classic punk riff. Lyrics are about wanting to decapitate someone, obviously, but the dichotomy in this song. So you have these ultra-violent lyrics, but with doo-wop backing vocals. So while Wednesday 13 is discussing wanting to cut off someone's head, you have that ooh, wah, wah, ooh in the background. So fun. Punchy, punk, hilarious, and, a little bit of sock hop in there. Now, moving into track 7, In Misery, this is another song that you got to hear early. And it's a great tone shift. We've had a lot of fun, fast, raging songs. So it's nice to kind of show off that range because you hear this song and the tone of the guitar immediately sets a mood. You start it and you're like, oh yeah, I'm about to feel things for sure. Overall, I think everybody really shines in this track. And by that, I mean, this is a good song that shows off the talent of this lineup. It's a really tight, well-written, well-done song. And this kind of, deep, pensive work is pretty indicative of some of Wednesday 13's later stuff. We usually do get treated to the odd song like this. And because it's not something he does all the time, it's really, really powerful when he does do it. Also, this might be my favorite guitar solo on the album. There's a lot of great guitar solos. This is just my personal preference. Like, any one of them could be a favorite, but I just feel like this one, it works so well within the song, and it's got that, soft atmospheric outro. I'm sure most of you have heard it because we did get to hear it early, but those are my thoughts on it. Really, really excellent track. All right, moving into track 8, Bloodstorm. This is another favorite of mine, but it's a song that you can't sit still to. So you open up with this deep, menacing, evil kind of riff, but the song is called Bloodstorm, so you know it's going to be a complete whirlwind of a song. And of course, it gets right into it. So after that mid-tempo mosher opener, it comes in with this song that just has so much drive. It's a circle pit mosher song if ever I have heard one. So there's a lot of speed, there's a lot of rage behind this song, but really what I think drives it is the drum work, the pulverizing drums in this song. Dupke really, really shines. He shines on the whole album, and I'm not just saying that because I'm a huge Wasp fan. That's true, but that's not why I'm saying it. Even when I saw Wednesday 13 live in Toronto, that was one of the things I noticed was like, wow, the drummer is so good. And, is a lot of the force behind this song. But of course, guitar work really stands out too. There's an amazing guitar solo here. There's a lot of guitar solos in this album, actually, and it's fantastic. Another fantastic one in this one. And then we get back into that, mid-tempo mosher evil riff at the end, just to bookend it. But yeah, this is another one I cannot wait for people to hear. Okay, so moving into track 9, Xan Ecstasy. I'll open up by saying there was a single released in 2010 called Xan Ecstasy, and it does appear on a box set called Dead Meat 10 Years of Blood, Feathers, and Lipstick, but somehow, even though I am a super fan, I don't have this. So I can't actually comment on whether or not this is, a reworked version of the song, if it's changed, if it's just the same name, because as I've mentioned, sometimes Wednesday 13 does like to pull from some of his amazing ideas from his early work. But yeah, for some reason I can't comment on whether or not that's changed or if this is inspired by or a redoing of the 2010 version. As the title would suggest, this is about needing a benzo to function. So I feel like, a lot of people are going to find it relatable as hell. Just kind of the mental health commentary of, being like, I'm not dead yet, so for as long as I'm forced to be alive, I need to disassociate as hard as I can. But it's, as dark as it is tonally, it's still catchy, and it's another song that you really want to sing along to. It does have a lot of feeling behind it. It's hard to describe the tone. Like, it's catchy, it's fun, but it does have a little bit of pain in it, and it's got this nice soft outro. It's a complex, layered, fun song. So it's another one that I'm excited for people to hear, and I'm so excited to hear everybody else's thoughts on it. And if you know if it's similar to the 2010 one, please let me know. All right, track 10, I Hurt You. Definitely more of a down-tempo song, which at this point is fantastic because this album has been a lot of raging bangers with a lot of drive, which obviously I love, but it is really nice to stop, pause, and kind of show off the range and the skill in other areas. And as much as, this is dark and real as hell, while Wednesday croons about, being on the upper hand of an abusive relationship, it is a guitar nerd song for sure. I could see people really, really getting into this to appreciate the technicality of it. And there's also a very unique acoustic breakdown in this song, which I definitely did not see coming. It cuts off into, a little acoustic melody in the last third of the song, which, if you've ever heard Undead and Unplugged, Wednesday 13 songs work astoundingly well as acoustic bangers. So this was great and a really nice little change. And yeah, by the end I found myself really, really wrapped up in the guitar work. So a unique song for sure, a standout on the album, and I can see people being really, really drawn to this one. All right, moving into track 11, My Funeral, the moody, broody goth and roll song. Now, it's not your, energetic circle pit song, but it is your like head nodding, fist bumping song. Classic Wednesday 13 lyrics, not being able to wait for his funeral, not being able to die before that. But it's another song that really shows off the overall technical skills of the band. In fact, there is a solo in this song that I could only describe as being kind of stoner metal. And I listened to it so many times and I was like, yeah, no, I can't do better than that. The guitar solo just sounds stoner metal to me. But really, listening to this song, you get such a good impression of how well this lineup works together, and they do. But yeah, very technically good song and classic Wednesday 13 themes. Okay, so after some great, mid-tempo stunners that show off a lot of the technical skill and range of the band, we're ending with track 12, Sick and Violent, which would have been another favorite if I allowed myself to go over 4. But this one is just so fun. It's super fast. It's a more simple riff. It's kind of like a metal punk hybrid fast rager. So, classic horror punk, super powerful. And you're ending on this amazing fast note that just makes you want to, blare it in your car and roll the windows down and scream it. It's catchy. Wednesday 13 opens with these kind of deep, more growling vocals that you don't hear too often from Wednesday. So it's kind of neat. And then, he gets into that I couldn't describe it in any way other than scream singing in the chorus that I love, and you want to yell along. This is a fun, fast, easily digestible, amazing rager to end the album to, and I love that we end on this high note. This is another one that I keep listening to on repeat. So overall, Wednesday 13 has always played with a lot of genres, like horror punk, goth rock, industrial, glam metal, classic heavy metal, country ballads in some cases. But in anything he's ever done, he's always sounded like Wednesday 13. So you could probably hear a song and be like, oh, like that's pretty heavy, it's probably around the Condolences era, or like, oh, that's like pretty quirky fun, that's probably from Fang Bang. But Wednesday 13 has always had this kind of underlying sound that he's always stayed true to. And it's why he's been able to keep, fans like me forever, since the late 90s through all of that work. It's the kind of thing where we're never bored. We're never like, okay, I've heard enough of this. But whenever he's experimental, we're never disappointed because those roots are always there. It's always Wednesday 13. So overall, Mid-Death Crisis, it is more of, a rager album. It's got the goth industrial sounds. It's got the 80s sleaze metal sounds. It does have a lot of classic heavy metal influences in it, but again, it's still classic Wednesday 13 with all of the fun, spooky, fast horror. It's such a good album. I rate it 11 out of 10. And I understand that coming from me, that may not mean much because I have outed myself as one of the biggest Wednesday 13 fans there is, but this is one of my favorite of his albums by far. And that is saying something because I have a huge catalog to pick from. But overall, that has been my review of Mid-Death Crisis. I cannot wait for everybody to listen to this. It comes out April 25th, and even if you don't like Wednesday 13, I don't know why you'd be watching if you don't, but if you don't, give it a listen anyway, because even if you like a whisper of metal or goth rock or industrial or punk, or if you like Halloween at all, give it a listen. There's a little something for everybody, and I'm just so excited for everybody to get to hear it.